Emily Thompson, Editor-in-Chief for Printwear magazine, and I'm here live at the NBM show in Arlington, Texas. And today I'm talking to Jimmy Lamb from Sawgrass Technologies. Thanks for being here, Jimmy.
My pleasure. Always great to be here and speak with you, Emily, about what's happening in the industry and what's going on in the world.
What I wanted to talk to you about is the sublimation industry and just how that relates into the apparel side of the graphics business, because it's traditionally seen for hard substrates, a lot of trophies, awards, plaques, those kind of things. So tell us a little bit about how you see sublimation fitting in the apparel world.
Great question, because you're right. Most of our sublimation is happening on the harder products, the things that you mentioned there. But we're seeing more and more trends now to going into the apparel side of things. Now, part of that is the manufacturers of the apparel products are making a greater selection of products that can be sublimated. As you probably know, with sublimation, it only bonds at a molecular level with polymers and polyesters. So when we're talking about apparel, we're talking about polyester apparel. It will not bond with cotton. It will do with blends, though. Now, that's an important thing to know. We can sublimate a blend as long as greater than 50% of the blend is polyester. Now, what you're going to get with a blend is you're going to get sort of a faded look. I don't like to use the word faded for marketing purposes because it kind of like degrades it a little bit. So let's use the word retro. Okay, retro. Okay, so retro is very popular in certain marketplaces. So yes, if you want to do a blend, you're going to get that retro look, but it actually might be to your benefit. But to really get the type of look that we're looking for, with what you would expect with sublimation, and that is high quality imaging, high quality color, you want to stick with 100% polyester or pretty close. Now, up until really the last 2 years or so, there was a very limited product line of polyester products. Okay, we had white men's t-shirts, and that was about it. Okay, and as I can so well know, you are built differently than me. So therefore, having a ladies line of shirts becomes very important. Okay, and now color is coming into play too. With sublimation, a lot of people have heard that you can only sublimate on white. Not true. White is the best color, but not the only color. Now, the reason that comes about is because we don't have white ink capabilities for sublimation. So for me to put something that's white on a colored shirt with sublimation, it's not going to happen. But as long as we can get past that, and a lot of our logos we can do different colored shirts. Now, another thing about sublimation is the dye is actually transparent, which sounds like invisible ink, doesn't it, right? But what happens is if I'm putting a transparent ink onto a colored background, the color of the background can affect the colors of the ink. So if I'm going to sublimate onto color, it could affect the image somewhat, the color of the image, and we have to tweak that a little bit with our graphics programs. But we really can't do dark colors because of that. Because the sublimation dye must always be darker than the background color. Now, it's kind of funny because people will say to me, well, then you can't sublimate black. And I say, oh yeah, you can sublimate black, you just can't see it. Yes. See where we're going with that? Okay, so in the spring, we are seeing a lot of new apparel products coming from some of our well-known apparel manufacturers out there that are polyester based. And some of them are creative blends, some of them are 100% polyester, but now we're seeing the different styles, the ladies styles. We're seeing some of the fashion styles with some really neat colors, and new cuts and different necklines and things like that, and a lot of new colors. And one of the other trends that we're seeing graphically is to use 1 and 2 color logos in a large format on a more of a brighter colored shirt. Not necessarily hot pink per se, but just brighter colors than maybe we've seen in some of the past years. So now we have more and more choice than we've had in a while. Sublimation is awesome because when we put it onto a polyester garment, it will not crack when washed, it will not peel over time, and it won't fade when you wash it either. And ideally, you're going to find sublimation is going to outlast the shirt. Okay, that gives us a higher price point. If we sell the shirt the right way, we have a shirt that's going to last a long time, look good, wear good, it's worth more money. And we got to position it that way. That's an important part. Last thing I want to mention on that too is there is a difference between just being polyester and being poly performance. So you do want to look at the aspect of performance because that gives us the moisture wicking. Makes the shirt worth more and more comfortable. And true polyester, some of us have horror stories of when we were younger and our moms made us wear leisure suits, or maybe the early days of John Travolta, he doesn't really want to remember what he wore, Traditional polyester. One other thing on that too is there is a polyester that looks and feels like cotton, spun polyester. So we can get 100% polyester garment that has what looks like the characteristics of cotton. It's totally different, but it looks and feels like it, and that satisfies those customers who have to have that type of feel.
Cool, very good. Now you said something about not being able to print white with sublimation.
Yes.
So explain the science behind that. Why is it that you cannot print white ink with sublimation printers?
Well, let's start with how sublimation works just real quick.
Sure.
In most cases, we're using a 4-color printer.
Okay.
And that printer has 4 base colors: cyan, yellow, magenta, and black.
Okay.
The reality is we're mixing 3 of those colors to create other colors: cyan, yellow, magenta.
Okay.
If you combine those together 100%, you get the color black.
Okay.
The absence of color in CMYK is white,
Right.
meaning nothing, right?
Right.
But there is no combination of cyan, yellow, and magenta that equal white. So we can't tell the printer to print white because it physically couldn't do it.
Okay.
Now, if you look at something like direct-to-garment printing, they're using a CMYK printer as well, but they'll have an extra channel of pre-manufactured ink that's called, wait for it, white ink. Okay? Very technical ink, but a very basic name, right? And they're able to send a signal to that printer to say, print white ink out of that cartridge in this area.
Okay.
So they'll put down that layer of white when they need it. They're able to put a layer of white down. In the case of DTG, they use some chemical catalyst to help that cure quickly, such that we can put colored ink on top.
Okay.
With screen printers, they do it with a flash cure.
Right.
Okay. If I was to try and put down some type of white ink for sublimation, it's going to block my sublimation from penetrating the fibers of the polyester, because sublimation, being a dye, we're recoloring from the inside out on the fibers. It has to physically penetrate the fibers to be able to embed itself, because sublimation is truly molecular.
Right.
It's bonding with, at a molecular level, the fibers of the polyester.
Sure.
White ink would be in the way. So we don't have a white ink capability at this time for sublimation. Therefore, we can't print the color white with anything that we're doing. Now, in the case of the hard items, okay, the awards, the plaques, those type of things, when you buy them, they're already manufactured in the color white.
Right.
So what we do is, if we need white lettering or we need a white soccer ball or something like that, in our artwork, those areas that need to be white are left open, meaning there's no color assigned to them. And when we sublimate onto a white background, all those areas that are no color is now the color of the background. So it works for everything but apparel. Apparel is the only one where we have the challenge.
Okay, gotcha. So tell me a little bit about where you see sublimation fitting in the context of the technologies of the apparel industry. So, you know, a lot of our readership are screen printers, and
Yes.
so are those competitive technologies, and especially with concerning digital direct-to-garment, you know, is that a competitive technology with sublimation, or can they coexist?
They can definitely coexist. You could look at it as competitive, but I don't really think they're competitive, and here's why. Direct-to-garment printing is typically done with a pigment-based ink which bonds to cotton.
Okay.
Okay, and it has some chemical additives to actually make the bonding occur.
Right.
Okay, so it's not automatic, but for the most part, their ink is designed to go with cotton and some blends.
Okay.
Their ink traditionally does not work with polyester, or doesn't work very well. Okay. Sublimation works with polyester, doesn't work with cotton. So you can already see, if you want to do both types of shirts, one system doesn't do both.
Sure.
You have to go kind of either or. Even in the world of screen printing, screen printers will handle poly shirts different than they do cotton shirts.
Right.
So again, it becomes very complementary, but not necessarily competitive.
Okay.
Now, it also fits in unique ways, like sublimation is very quick and easy to set up and do what we call short runs and on-demand printing. Screen printers know, I don't have to tell them, how much time it takes to set up something to run it. So if you take a screen printer and you go to them and say, hey, listen, I need 12 shirts with an 8-color image,
They roll their eyes.
the screen printer, yeah, they roll their eyes, okay, they're done, okay?
Right.
But on the other hand, when they have a technology that lets them do small runs, they don't have to turn those orders down.
Sure.
So the reality is, if someone wants a t-shirt and they want to go 12 pieces, full color logo, then maybe we can sublimate that, okay? Granted, sublimation is not the same as screen printing.
Right.
But the capabilities say, yes, I can do that full color logo for you in a small run, and I can do it while you wait, in theory, if I have the shirts available and the time available to do it. So it becomes a very nice complement to doing those short run, quick turnaround jobs that you don't want to do with a complex system like screen printing.
Sure.
And with DTG, it just opens up the doors to some different types of fabrics that I can manage than I could with my DTG.
In 5 sentences.
Oh, geez.
Tell me
I can't do
top
that.
5 reasons to get into the sublimation market.
First reason, diversification.
Okay.
If I have sublimation, I can diversify easily into a lot of different products and different markets. Okay. Number 2, simplicity. It's easy to set up, it's easy to run. I need 3 pieces of equipment: a computer, a printer equipped with sublimation dies and transfer paper, and a heat press. Number 3, it's low cost. Sublimation ink averages less than 0.01 cents per square inch. So I can do some nice things, low cost. Number 4 is the visual aspect. I can do high def photos with sublimation. Most people that are screen printers like, who cares? The reality is, if I want to do awards, if I want to do signage, being able to put true photos in there takes it to a higher level, which means a higher margin. Okay. Number 5 is it's a very high margin type of product. We're able to make things very low cost and sell them for high margins, and that is going to the key to making money anyway. Low cost, high margin. And there's so much uniqueness in what we can do with sublimation, it gives us the opportunity and the tools to be able to do those things.
Great. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for letting me be here. I enjoyed it.
For more information, go to printwearmag.com.